Hey folks, Jackdaw here. In Bloodlines 2, you play as Phyre, a 400-year-old elder vampire reawakened in modern-day Seattle. You're ancient, powerful, vaguely terrifying, and semi-customizable. But before the factions start courting you, before the bodies start piling up, before the city remembers who you really are, you have to choose your vampire clan. And that choice matters. It shapes your powers, your reputation, the way you fight, the way you feed, the way the world reacts to you when you walk into a room. You're not locked in forever, and you can unlock most clan abilities later, but your starting clan defines your early game and how Seattle reacts to you. And so in this video, I am breaking down all the 6 playable clans available, looking at what they can do, how they play, what kind of stories they will tell, who you will clash or flirt with, and ultimately what kind of vampire fantasy they each unlock. By the end of this, you will know exactly which clan deserves your first bite. So let's kick things off with a classic, a temper hotter than fresh blood. And of course, that leads us to the Brujah, pronounced Brujah in the original game and Brujah in the Masquerade Redemption, whichever pronunciation tickles your fancy. Nevertheless, they are a bunch of malcontents, the fists of vampire society, loud, proud, and permanently pissed off. In the lore, they are rebels, always have been. Back in the old knights, they were warrior scholars, building utopias like Carthage. Now, they're anarchs, gang leaders, punks, activists, clinging to lost ideals and lashing out at the system that killed them. And in Bloodlines 2, they hit particularly hard. Brujah are built for high speed, high impact, direct combat. Your powers let you blitz across the battlefield, taunt enemies into dropping their guard, and turn feeding into a weaponized adrenaline loop. You're about rhythm, hit, feed, smash harder. Your opener is Charge, a blur of speed that sends you hurling forward. If you hit someone, they become a battering ram, crashing through others in your path. Follow that with Earth Shock, a ground slam that sends enemies flying. It's your crowd control move, breaking up clusters, opening breathing room, or launching someone into a wall because they were standing too close. Taunt then flips the field, enrage a target, forcing them to attack you, and while they're distracted, they're going to take more damage. Then comes Lightning Strike, a flurry of punches that targets multiple enemies, ending in one final bone-cracking blow. The crowd won't know what hit them, literally. And when it's time to feed mid-fight, that's when Brutality, your clan passive, kicks in, temporarily boosting all of your melee damage. And if you commit to the Brujah tree, you are going to unlock Spark of Rage, the clan perk that lets your passive of boosting all melee damage then activate even without feeding, just as long as you kill. Your rage quite literally becomes self-sustaining. You're not subtle and you're not careful in the slightest. However, if you like the idea of a rhythm-focused build around fight, feed, hit harder, repeat, then Brujah is certainly here to reward your recklessness. Now, narratively, Seattle's full of Brujah blood. In Bloodlines 2, many of the local anarchs are Brujah, including Silky, the slam poet anarch turned enforcer for the Unseen Court. The Brujah clan is best for players who want to run headfirst into chaos and come out the other side stronger, fans of glory kill combat loops where feeding boosts power mid-fight, and role players drawn to punk ideology, righteous fury, and a bit of working class poetry. As for some style notes, expect bruised knuckles, ripped sleeves, spiked jackets, and tattoos of causes they'll bleed for. You're going to be avoiding obedience, etiquette, and long speeches with no fists at the end of them. Next up we have the Tremere, the vampires who never should have been. Back in the Dark Ages, they were mortal mages, power-hungry, paranoid, obsessed with cheating death, and so they did. They stole vampirism by force, drank the blood of an antediluvian, and rewrote their very souls with sorcery. And the other vampire clans have just never really forgiven them for that. In Bloodlines 2, that very same icy intensity is intact. Tremere are the go-to ranged caster class, manipulating blood, battlefield, and body from a distance. Now, in theory, they sound like your typical glass cannon kind of build, but in practice, you are a psychic sniper with a grenade launcher full of hemoglobin. Tremere are for the players who like method to their murder. You'll be weaving status effects, draining enemies dry, and triggering very satisfying pops of arterial fireworks. In other words, unlike the Brujah clan, you ain't punching your way through Seattle. You are boiling it instead. Your opener is Blood Salvo, a rapid burst of crimson daggers summoned from the air and hurled with surgical precision. The nastier follow-up is usually Cauldron of Blood. It doesn't kill instantly, it cooks. You boil a target from the inside out, forcing them to scream, stagger, drop, and while they crumble, every nearby enemy is drawn. Then you simply curse them. Blood Curse marks a victim like a warning. The next time they are hit, their body ruptures. Grotesque, explosive, and beautifully timed to shred a group clustered around the first scream. Need a reset? Recall lets you mark a location, then dive into the void and explode back to that point like a blood-soaked nova, wiping out anyone foolish enough to chase you. Use it for traps, retreats, or just simple dramatic flair. And every cast runs hotter thanks to Corrosive Touch, your clan passive. After feeding, your victims don't simply slum, they dissolve. If you dedicate yourself to the Tremere path, your clan perk, Blood of Potency, is unlocked, giving you a chance on feed to supercharge your last spell with a rush of blood, letting you cycle your strongest abilities faster. Essentially, the more you cast, the faster you feed. The faster you feed, the stronger you cast. Narratively, nobody really trusts a Tremere, and that's sort of the point. In Bloodlines 2, they are known for operating in tight-knit circles, secretive chantries where loyalty to the regent comes before anything else. There's a strong academic undercurrent here, magical research, vampiric hierarchy, and control over knowledge and tradition. The key Tremere character you'll meet is Amelia Thorne, head of the Seattle Chantry. She's high-collared, high status, and highly dangerous. The kind of person who probably knows what you're going to say before you say it, and already has your blood on file. And so choosing Tremere means stepping into a role of arcane authority. You'll be feared, respected, and maybe a touch hunted. And so the Tremere clan is best for players who prefer long-range rhythm-based spellcasting, fans of control builds, status effects, and cooldown synergy, and role players who like being feared for what they know. Some style notes: expect dark coats, glowing sigils, and the most perfect of postures. But you're going to be avoiding direct confrontation, improv, and just general sentiment. Next up, we have the Banu Haqim. In the old nights, the Banu Haqim were known as the Assamites, the silent hand of vampire society, judges, scholars, sorcerers, and, only when needed, assassins. But the name is no longer theirs. The Camarilla branded them with it like a slur, and after centuries of subjugation, they reclaimed their truth. Banu Haqim, the children of Haqim, and they answer to no one. In Bloodlines 2, they are the most methodical clan. Think your typical rogue class meets a silent enforcer. So essentially, Batman. Banu Haqim makes silence into a weapon. Your passive, Silence of Death, activates after feeding. For a brief time, every action you take becomes inaudible. Combine this with Unseen Aura, your Vanish ability, and you're a ghost in the world of breathing targets. But listen, you may disappear to the eye, but you're still audible. Unless you fed first, of course. That's where the synergy lives. You feed, then you vanish, and then you kill unheard. Once you're in position, use mute to cut off a single target sound entirely. Screams, gunfire, calls for help, all swallowed up into nothing. Perfect for surgical takedowns in crowded areas, letting you strike in public without ever raising the alarm. Split second is your tempo breaker. Time doesn't stop. Not really, but it might as well. You move with such speed that the world slows to a crawl. Use it to sprint past enemies, reposition behind a threat, or chain together multiple kills before anyone can react. And if you do need to get your hands dirty, Bladed Hand is exactly what it sounds like. A fast, clean slash that instantly beheads mortal enemies. This all results in a toolkit built for predators who never enter combat unless they've already won. And if you commit fully to Banu Haqim, the Prowl perk is unlocked, letting you sprint while crouching, merging agility with silence in a way that no other clan can match. Pure unseen velocity. Now, the Banu Haqim have always walked a knife's edge between power and prestige. In Bloodlines 2, you're not playing a thug or a brute. You are part of a clan that values discipline, heritage, and judgment. A killer who believes in justice, or at least a very old, very personal interpretation of it. You'll encounter Nico, the Banu Haqim contact in Seattle, a shadow operator who helps train fledglings and track powerful targets. Ultimately, choosing Banu Haqim means living the ultimate vampire assassin fantasy. You are the predator nobody saw coming. And so, the Banu Haqim clan is best for players who love stealth, assassination, and single target takedowns, fans of high risk, high reward feeding mechanics, and role players drawn to legacy, judgment, and the ethics of the blade. Some style notes: expect rich fabrics, stealth, absolute stillness. You're going to be avoiding chaos, cheap thrills, and unworthy blood. Next we have the Ventrue. There's always one, the boss, the heir, the vampire who walks into the room like they own the building, and probably do. That's a Ventrue. Sometimes called the Blue Bloods, the Ventrue are the self-appointed aristocracy of vampire society. They don't follow the rules, they are the rules. Old money, clean suits, and of course, controlled public image. Ventrue don't fight fair. They fight from above. You don't win with brute strength like the Banu Haqim or the Brujah. You win by making other people act against their will, while you stand untouched at the centre of it all. It's not pretty, it's not fair, it's Ventrue. You open with mass manipulation, a commanding gaze that subdues enemies in your presence, locking them in place. While under your control, other dominate abilities affect them all. When you want precision, use possession. It lets you slip behind your target's eyes, seeing what they see, and most importantly, commanding them to strike others. Someone's a threat, end them. Terminal Decree issues a single brutal command: die. Pure psychic authority. Cloud Memory is your softer touch, a nudge that wipes your presence from a victim's mind, leaving them docile, confused, and utterly unprepared. Great for infiltration, cleanup, or walking away from a scene without a trace. And after feeding, that's when Flesh of Marble, your clan passive, activates, temporarily hardening your skin to resist incoming damage. Master the path of the Ventrue, and you will unlock the Resilience perk. Feeding restores more health, letting you sustain longer, dominate harder, and stay at the top of every encounter. It's about supremacy at the end of the day. And story-wise, if it wasn't already obvious, Ventrue are very rarely loved. However, they are always obeyed. In Bloodlines 2, the Camarillers return to Seattle means the Ventrue are reclaiming their seat at the head of the table. Expect boardroom politics, power struggles, and private deals behind closed doors. Now, there are many Ventrue contacts in Bloodlines 2, especially in the court. However, our most enigmatic main contact is JJ Campbell, formerly known as Alec Cross. However, given the development of this game, since changed to Campbell, who is the de facto Prince of Seattle. Campbell is conservative, ambitious, and a master manipulator. If you pick Ventrue, you're not just some fledgling thug, you're a potential successor. And if you don't pick Ventrue, well, you best know who's in charge. The Ventrue clan is best for players who like dominating the battlefield without lifting a hand, fans of manipulation, mental control and tactical resource use, and role players who want to embody political power but not physical force. And some style notes: expect clean suits, colder smiles, and enough presence to silence a room, but you're going to be avoiding mess, improv, and feeding without a proper introduction. Next up, available only by the Day 1 DLC Shadow and Silk, which is absolutely heretical, by the way. Just ship it with the bloody base game at this point. You've come this far already, but I digress. The Toreador clan is everything your sire warned you about. Their elegance with teeth, beauty with claws. The divas, the artists of the undead. Vampires who crave more than blood. They crave feeling, art, desire. That one perfect moment that might stir their cold hearts. And if it doesn't, they'll move on to their next muse and ruin that one too. Toreador don't embrace to preserve. They embrace to possess. Poets, dancers, sculptors, lovers, all turned, trapped, adored, and ultimately discarded. Toreador are the speed demons of Bloodlines 2. They don't win through force, they win through movement, seduction, and precise timing. You open with Entrancing Kiss, a literal kiss of death that turns immortal into a temporary ally. The weaker their will, the longer they will serve you. Suddenly, your enemy's bouncer is guarding you, their friend is stabbing them in the back, and you're nowhere to be found, because you've already blinked. A rapid, targeted dash that turns the battlefield into your runaway. Close a gap, vanish behind a pillar, reappear behind the next poor soul. When things get messy, blurred momentum boosts your reflexes to dodge damage mid-animation, giving you that uncanny choreographed elegance mid-brawl. Beckon then adds another layer. Lure a victim into a trance and guide them to their last memory of you. The kind of misdirection you use to separate a target from the crowd, or lead them straight into the spotlight, center stage, and perfectly exposed. And once you're fed, Cat's Grace, your clan passive, is gonna kick in, boosting your movement speed like you've slipped into a silkier, faster version of yourself. Paired then with the Fleetness clan perk, your movement abilities recharge passively. You move constantly, a literal blur of beauty and bloodshed. This is the Toreador fantasy, a predator as a performance artist. Of course, in Seattle, style is substance, which makes Toreador dangerously powerful. You'll likely find influence woven throughout the Camarillers' upper echelons, in salons, galleries, private boxes, and photo spreads. We've already seen Isabella, the sultry, razor-sharp vampire, glimpsed in a demo, showcasing that signature Toreador flirty charm. Expect her and others to be deeply tied to romance, status, and influence, possibly in ways you won't spot until it's far too late. And so choosing Toreador means playing a vampire who feeds on attention as much as blood. You're not hiding, you're captivating. You're the scene everybody remembers and the one kiss they absolutely regret. And so the Toreador clan is best for players who want speed, grace, and manipulation over raw power, fans of seduction, stagecraft, and tactical movement, and role players drawn to decadence, romance, and social dominance. Some style notes: expect couture silhouettes, blood red lipstick, and heels let click like fangs. But you are going to be avoiding subtlety, loyalty, and cheap thrills. And the last clan available also through the Day 1 Shadow and Silk DLC, Lasombra. They don't chase power, they're its entire shadow. Felt behind frosted glass, heard in the silence after somebody stops talking. They don't cast reflections, they don't leave loose ends, and they never raise their voices. They don't need to. Once the strategic core of the Sabbat, Lasombra have fractured in recent years. Some defected to the Camarilla, where their ambition now wears tailored suits and toothy smiles. Others, however, vanished into the old Sabbat strongholds, loyal now only to the Abyss. But no matter the allegiance, Lasombra embrace survivors, warborn, grief-tempered, ruthlessly composed. You don't simply join them by accident. You survive your way in. Lasombra are for players who want to dominate the battlefield without ever drawing attention. You don't fight to win, you fight so they never try again. Every move you make isolates, immobilizes, or simply terrifies. For example, Arms of Ahriman sends a thread of living darkness crawling along the ground. Catch somebody in it and they're pinned in place, unable to move unless damaged. Use it to hold a threat still while you're close in, or pick them off. Then Shadow Step, which is more than mobility, it is control of space. Slip into your own shadow, reappear from theirs, blink behind a sniper, skip past a choke point, or close a feed gap in a heartbeat. Subtle, surgical, and wholly unfair. Then Glimpse of Oblivion triggers pure terror. One cast and your enemies scatter. Not because they want to, but because their minds break trying to stay. Enter Oblivion is then your apex move. Cast a sweeping shadow, then step through it into a pocket of unreality. A plane where only you and those marked by your darkness exist. Whether you hunt them there or leave them there stranded is completely your call. And all of that is framed by Shadow Cloak, your clan passive. After feeding, you fade further from view. Stealth becomes instinct. With the Stygian Shroud perk, mortals can't interrupt your feed at all. It's completely your moment, yours alone. And so narratively, Lasombra are uncanny, and that's even by vampire standards. Their shadows stretch too long. They don't appear in mirrors, and that is not a quirk, but a symptom of their connection to Oblivion, the void that lingers beyond death. In Seattle, their faction ties are ambiguous, least to say. A few may back the Camarilla, but they're not all complete loyalists. They're opportunists, kingmakers, threats who smile as they dismantle you piece by piece. And so choosing Lasombra means playing as a power that doesn't need the spotlight. You don't grandstand, you move, you strike, you erase. Others can posture, you own and live in the silence. And so the Lasombra clan is best for players who love stealth casters, precision kills, and fear-based control. Role players who thrive in morally grey areas and political influence, and fans of stylish brutality, tactical teleportation, and being 2 steps ahead. And as for some style notes, expect tailored suits, black gloves, and eyes that don't always catch the light. But you're gonna avoid noise, reflection, and unnecessary emotion. And that is all the 6 playable clans so far, but it's also worth noting there are quite a few non-playable clans in Bloodlines 2. You can of course expect to cross paths with the Malkavians. I do believe you have one literally living inside your head anyway, who literally in the time of editing this video has been confirmed to be playable. So actually we can play as a Malkavian in specific story moments when we take over the shoes of Fabian. We have some Nosferatu lurking in the city's veins, a damn shame we can't play as one in my opinion. And then we have Gangrel, half wild and wholly independent. Ultimately, Seattle is a city of shadows, and of course, every clan has one. So before you choose your clan, ask yourself right now, What kind of monster do you want to be in this world? Do you want to break skulls in black alleys, start fights in Elysium, and punch a man so hard you rattle his lineage? Go Brujah. Want to whisper forgotten truths, rupture veins with a thought, and rewrite the rules of morality? Go Tremere. Want to vanish between heartbeats, execute the powerful, and feed like every drop was earned? Go Banu Haqim. Want to level a room with a stare, turn enemies into puppets, and drain status like a vintage wine? Go Ventrue. Want to captivate the floor, dance through danger, and leave your foes lovesick and bleeding? Go Toreador. Or do you want to slide through shadows, fracture minds, and let oblivion do all the talking? Then go Lasombra. Of course, there's really no wrong choice here, just one that particularly suits you, your tempo, your temperament, and of course your style. And as mentioned before, you can of course change your clan as the game progresses. This all in all affects the early hours of your game and how the world reacts to you initially. So pick your poison and drink deeply. Which clan are you starting with first in Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 when it hits us October 21st? The mask is now yours. Wear it well. And of course, above all, obey the masquerade. I hope that this guide has been helpful and handy. Do let me know all of your thoughts down below and which clan initially gravitates to you the most for your first playthrough. But of course, until the next one, I've been Jackdaw and I should go. Whoa, 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 whoa.